Hello guys, I decided to make this guide to help you guys make a powerful Whirlwind Barbarian. I see a lot of people are having problems with it. First of all, I'll go over the build. The build goes with a Fury Generator Bash with Instigation. The reason is this build uses abilities that are extremely overpowered. We want to use those as much as possible. Bash is only used to get the initial Fury, and we want to use it as little as possible. With Instigation, it will give us as much Fury as possible, so we don't have to use it so much. Sprint with Run Like the Wind. This is the main ability of this build. When it makes you run faster, so you can run faster, and it creates tornadoes that deal 60% weapon damage as physical for 3 seconds. This is actually a lot. It scales with your weapon speed, so what matters is your DPS. And you can spawn a lot of tornadoes. If you see, if you see me running, you can see it spawns 1, 2, 3, 4 tornadoes, 5 tornadoes. If I run in a circle around a mob and the circle is big enough, I'm gonna spawn multiple tornadoes, each one doing 60% weapon damage. This adds up to a lot of damage. Also, the coefficient of Run Like the Wind is very high, so we get a lot of life on hit and a lot of fury on crit from Battle Rage. So this Battle Rage is basically a must-have. It gives us 50% damage and 3% crit, which is a small bonus. But the real bonus here is the 15 fury every crit. Every tornado hits a lot of times per second. Each one has 20% chance to give 15 fury on crit. And this makes us get a lot of fury, and we're able to keep spamming sprint with extra fury. Now, our main attack, it's not really a main attack, but our secondary, the spender, is the Whirlwind with Hurricane to allow us to keep moving at the same speed, otherwise it slows us down and it fucks the build up. And what this does is let us go through monsters. It doesn't do a lot of damage compared to sprint, but it does let us go through monsters, so the sprint tornadoes will actually hit them. We only use Whirlwind when you have enough fury. Sprint is the top priority here. If you run out of fury, just use sprint and ignore Whirlwind. Do not use Whirlwind when sprint is not active. Wrath of the Berserker, thrive on chaos. This gives us the 10% crit, 25% attack speed, and 20% movement speed. So that way we clear levels much faster. Every 25 fury we gain will increase 1 second duration to Wrath of the Berserker. We have to spend that fury in order to actually get the increased duration from fury gains. Since its build generates a lot of fury, it's not too hard to keep it up for much longer than the initial 15-second duration. However, it is difficult to keep it up, so if you're having a hard time or if your gear is not very good, you can replace it with Slaughter. Slaughter does a crazy amount of extra damage because you get a lot of crits, and each crit explodes for another 155% weapon damage. This is very strong. If you activate this, the elites are just going to disappear. However, it does have a 2-minute cooldown, so I prefer Thrive on Chaos to cover level faster. And warcry with impunity, no need to explain. If you don't have this, you're just going to die all the time. Weapon Master gives us 10% crit with excess of maces. Some prefer Mighty Weapon because it makes keeping Wrath of the Berserker easier. But maces under excess are gonna do more damage with a 10% crit. Ruthless, obviously, 5% crit, 50% critical damage. And Tough as Nails, for my gear, happens to give more armor than Nerves of Steel. You should use whichever gives you more armor. Bloodthirst, Animosity are also nice options, but are just not as good as the survivability you get from Tough as Nails and Nerves of Steel. But if you just happen to have too much survivability, you can try Animosity to give you more easier time keeping Wrath of the Berserker up. Let's go over the stats. I'll start with the DPS. It's actually misleading because my offense doesn't really do damage. So what happens is my sprint damage is actually much higher. Sprint only uses your main hand damage, but alternates the speed. So having a high damage main hand weapon with a fast offhand will give you the best results. You don't have to have that. If you have really good weapons, they can be better, but if you give the same exact DPS, then a slow main hand and a fast offhand is the best. This weapon cost me 11 million. It's probably worth a lot less. Very high damage, strength, critical damage. For some reason people don't charge so much for weapons without a socket, even though 83 critical damage is almost the same as a socket, so you might want to look for those. Basically you want very high damage and some stats. If you try to get more stats, damage will be lower and it won't be worth it. The offhand, since sprint only uses main hand damage, this actually only affects Whirlwind damage. Whirlwind damage is only a small part of my damage, and this only affects half of it. That way I can use very low DPS on the offhand and very high stats. You see the 850 life on hit, that basically keeps me alive. It's a must-have on the offhand. And if you have more money, you can get one with higher critical damage, a socket for more critical damage. This one just happens to have also lifesteal and strength, so it actually boosts my sprint damage by a lot, even though the DPS is actually not very high with this weapon. This weapon cost me 1.5 million. It might be worth more, might be worth less, I'm not sure. Boots. The boots cost me about 12 million. They give me strength, vital, resist, armor for more defense, and 12 movement speed. 12 movement speed is a must if you want to farm fast, because you don't want to move slowly. It's not worth it. Even if you can get more DPS, more survival, you're gonna move slower, you're gonna farm slower. It's not worth it. Get your stats elsewhere. Keep in mind, 10 armor is about as good as 1 resist, at least with my stats. You can Google EHP calculator and see how much it works for you. So basically it's like 93 all resist, which is nice for boots that also have movement speed, strength and vitality. The pants, they give again good resist, good armor and good vitality, because pants cannot have crit, so I get my vitality through my pants and chest. These cost me about 10 million, I think. This ring actually dropped for me. I wouldn't actually search for a ring without crit, but it dropped and it gives a lot of DPS. I tried finding rings that give about the same DPS and do have crit, and they would cost about 10 million, so getting an upgrade that has crit would cost me well over 10 million, so I'm just sticking with this one for now. This ring also cost me around 10 million, I think. It has resists, which is good for a ring, because rings cannot have very high stats, but they can have up to 70 resist, which is almost max other items can have. And of course critical chance, critical damage, and 61 strength. 9 minimum damage is 9 minimum, 9 maximum actually, and it's worth about the same as 18 additional strength. Keep that in mind when you look at rings. Each 1 minimum damage is like 2 strength, and each maximum damage is like 1 strength. The amulet, if you see that has 19 to 40, so it's basically like 59 more strength. This one is actually very cheap, but I'm still looking for a good one to buy. I don't even remember how much it costs. I think I found it before I even re-walled the Barbarian. Getting one like this should be cheap. I'm trying to get one with high strength, damage, critical chance and critical damage. Still looking for a good deal. You can get much better for even 10 million. You can get one with similar stats to 10-15 millions, with similar stats and critical damage on top. Bracers cost me about 10-12 million, I think. You got strength, vitality, all resist, much needed critical chance, all resist, and a bonus pick-up radius. The bonus pick-up radius is not very important, but it does help picking up health globes. It's very nice to have, but don't look for it. Only take it if it comes on items. And the physical resist is good, because physical is most of the actual damage you're gonna take. The chest just has good resist, good armor, good life, because I need the life from the chest and pants, and 3 sockets for a big strength bonus. This also cost me about 10 million. I would try get better when I find one that is a good deal. I'm trying to get an amulet first. The gloves, those I actually found for 1.5 million. They might be worth a lot more, I'm not sure. The strength is low and they do have no resist, so they might be actually worth 1.5 million, but the 9.5 crit and 42 crit damage is really good. These shoulders I found these a very long time ago, before I even started playing the Barb. Probably worth less than 1 million, I'm not sure though, hard to tell. I've been trying to find upgrades, but it's hard. Even for 10 million it's hard to find a significant upgrade. It's easy to find an upgrade, but not a significant one. The helm. in this patch, since leveling is really important, sockets are very important. Getting good stats and a socket is going to be very expensive. That's why I had to give up strength, give up vitality, and just get the 6% crit, which is nice, and the socket, and very, very high resist. This is actually the first item I bought, so I wanted to make sure I have enough resist on my gear, so I bought this one for 15 million. If you're gonna want one like this with also strength, then it's going to cost you many, many millions. So keep that in mind. And the belt has lifesteal, which makes it very good. It has 137 strength, 68 vitality. It cost me about 5 to 10 million, I don't remember exactly, but that's probably about how much it should cost. And gives me resist, strength, vitality, and lifesteal. You can get much more strength on a belt, but then it's not gonna have lifesteal because you need a 63 belt, and you cannot get level 63 mighty belts. So giving up some strength, but getting the resist, getting a lifesteal, getting the vitality is usually worth it. Since I have lifesteal on my weapon, I could actually change to a belt without lifesteal. It would probably still be fine, but I like the extra survivability. And you can see my stats. I got the lowest resist is 825, physical is 900, makes it quite durable. You probably don't want to have lower than 800 all resist. I do have really high armor too, so that makes me even more durable. I just barely ever die. You can manage with less. How much less depends how much you want to avoid dying. You can see critical hit chance is 51 or 54 with battle rage. That gives me very good crits, very good fury regen, and critical damage that helps my DPS by a lot. Okay, my life is 36k, that's more than enough. If you get 40k, then you're really never gonna die. You should try get 40k if you can, but if you're on a budget, even 30k can work easily if you have enough resists, enough armor, and enough life on hit. Okay, I'm gonna show you the build in action. Hope you enjoy. Have fun.
Why?
Still recharging.
can almost feel your breath on my skin.
Need more time. Still recharging. I've been healed.
Oh yes, I've been looking forward. Come now, you can do better than that. You are no... Shh, I eat you now. No!
recharging.